She had entered my world, umber and black Humberland, with rash curiosity. She surveyed it with a shrug of amused distaste, and it seemed to me now that she was ready to turn away from it with something akin to plain repulsion. Never did she vibrate under my touch, and a strident, "What do you think you're doing?" was all I got for my pains. To the wonderland I had to offer, my fool preferred the corniest movies, the most cloying fudge. To think that between a hamburger and a Humburger she would invariably with icy precision plump for the former. There is nothing more atrociously cruel than an adored child. Did I mention the name of that milk bar I visited a moment ago? It was of all things the Frigid Queen. Smiling a little sadly, I dubbed her my frigid princess. She did not see the wistful joke. Oh, do not scowl at me, reader. I do not intend to convey the impression that I did not manage to be happy. Reader must understand that in the possession and thraldom of a nymphette the enchanted traveller stands, as it were, beyond happiness. For there is no other bliss on earth comparable to that of fondling a nymphette. It is hors concours, that bliss. It belongs to another class, another plane of sensitivity. Despite our tiffs, despite her nastiness, despite all the fuss and faces she made, and the vulgarity and the danger, and the horrible hopelessness of it all, I still dwelled deep in my elected paradise, a paradise whose skies were the colour of hell flames, but still a paradise. The able psychiatrist who studies my case, and whom by now Dr. Humbert has plunged, I trust, into a state of leporine fascination, is no doubt anxious to have me take my Lolita to the seaside, and have me find there at last the gratification of a lifetime urge and a release from the subconscious obsession of an incomplete childhood romance with the initial little Miss Lee. Well, comrade, let me tell you that I did look for a beach, though I also have to confess that by the time we reached its mirage of grey water, so many delights had already been granted me by my travelling companion that the search for a kingdom by the sea, a sublimated Riviera or what not, far from being the impulse of the subconscious, had become the rational pursuit of a purely theoretical thrill. The angels knew it and arranged things accordingly. A visit to a plausible cove on the Atlantic side was completely messed up by foul weather. A thick damp sky, muddy waves, a sense of boundless but somehow matter-of-fact mist. What could be further removed from the crisp charm, the sapphire occasion, the rosy contingency of my Riviera romance? A couple of semi-tropical beaches on the Gulf, though bright enough, were starred and spattered by venomous beasties and swept by hurricane winds. Finally, on a Californian beach, facing the phantom of the Pacific, I hit upon some rather perverse privacy in a kind of cave whence you could hear the shrieks of a lot of Girl Scouts taking their first surf bath on a separate part of the beach, behind rotting trees. But the fog was like a wet blanket, and the sand was gritty and clammy, and lo was all goose-flesh and grit, and for the first time in my life I had as little desire for her as for a manatee. Perhaps my learned readers may perk up if I tell them that even if we discovered a piece of sympathetic seaside somewhere, it would have come too late, since my real liberation had occurred much earlier, at the moment, in point of fact, when Annabel Hayes, alias Dolores Lee, alias Lolita, had appeared to me, golden and brown, kneeling, looking up on that shoddy veranda in a kind of fictitious, dishonest, but eminently satisfactory seaside arrangement, although there was nothing but a second-rate lake in the neighbourhood. So much for those special sensations, influenced if not actually brought about by the tenets of modern psychiatry. Consequently, I turned away. I headed my Lolita away from beaches which were either too bleak when lone or too populous when ablaze. However, in recollection, I suppose, of my hopeless hauntings of public parks in Europe, I was still keenly interested in outdoor activities and desirous of finding suitable playgrounds in the open where I had suffered such shameful privations. Here, too, I was to be thwarted. The disappointment I must now register, as I gently grade my story into an expression of the continuous risk and dread that ran through my bliss, should in no wise reflect on the lyrical, epic, tragic, but never Arcadian American wilds. They are beautiful, heart-rendingly beautiful, those wilds, with a quality of wide-eyed, unsung, innocent surrender that my lacquered, toy-bright Swiss villages and exhaustively lauded Alps no longer possess. Innumerable lovers have clipped and kissed on the trim turf of old-world mountainsides, on the inner spring moss, by a handy hygienic rill, on rustic benches under the initialed oaks, and in so many cabanas in so many beech forests. But in the wilds of America, the open-air lover will not find it easy to indulge in the most ancient of all crimes and pastimes. Poisonous plants burn his sweetheart's buttocks. Nameless insects sting his. Sharp items on the forest floor prick his knees, insects hers. And all around there abides a sustained rustle of potential snakes, codiges of semi-extinct dragons, while the crab-like seeds of ferocious flowers cling in a hideous green crust to gartered black sock and sloppy white sock alike. I am exaggerating a little. One summer noon, just below timberline, where heavenly-hued blossoms that I would fain call larkspur crowded all along a pearly mountain brook, we did find, Lolita and I, a secluded romantic spot, 100 feet or so above the pass where we had left our car. The slope seemed untrodden. A last panting pine was taking a well-earned breather on the rock it had reached. A marmot whistled at us and withdrew. Beneath the lap robe I had spread for lo, dry flowers crepitated softly. Venus came and went. The jagged cliff crowning the upper talus and the tangle of shrubs growing below us seemed to offer us a protection from sun and man alike. Alas, I had not reckoned with a faint side trail that curled up in cagey fashion among the shrubs and rocks a few feet from us. It was then that we came closer to detection than ever before, and no wonder the experience curbed forever my yearning for rural amours.